Hi everyone. Let's take a look at problem 6-10, which deals with a basic bond valuation. Complex Systems has an outstanding issue of $1,000 par value bonds with a 12% coupon interest rate. The issue pays interest annually and has 16 years remaining to its maturity date. Okay, Part A says if the bonds of similar risk are currently earning a 10% rate of return, how much should the Complex Systems bond sell for today? Okay, let's take a look at that. First, let's determine the variables. There's the future value, and the future value, I hope everyone understands, is $1,000. The value of the bond that would have to be paid back at its maturity rate. Okay, then they tell us that the market interest rate on the bonds is 10%. The coupon interest rate given in the problem is 12%. Okay, the next variable we need to know is the annual interest payment. Okay, so the payment is calculated this way. We take the $1,000 times the coupon rate, right? That's the dollar amount of payments that will have to be paid on this bond at the end of every year. Okay, let me just add one other variable. The market interest rate is actually the interest rate we need. The coupon interest rate is provided so that you know how much the payment will need to be. It is the actual stated rate or contract rate indicated in the bond. The last variable we need to know about is the number of periods. Okay, and usually the variable for that is an n, and they give that in the problem as 16 years until the maturity date. Okay, well, to determine what the bonds will sell for today, that means we're solving a present value problem. And using Excel, we can say equal PV left paren. Now I'm going to go up to the formula bar, press the button. That was a little bit off of your screen, and then I'm going to use this little function arguments pop-up window that automatically comes up. The rate is the market interest rate. The number of periods, we've already defined that as the 16 years. The payment, that's the interest payment. Okay, now I'm going to make this a negative C20 because I'm going to treat this as if we are going to sell the bonds today. In other words, we're going to get the money for the bond, and we would have to then make the payment. So we'll show all the payments as outflows, or a negative number, and there's my negative 120 there. Okay, and the future value, I'm going to do the same thing. We'll subtract the $1,000. Okay, let me slide this over a little bit. You can see those two are negative because they represent outflows, and that way our answer will come back in terms of present value. And there's the answer, $1,156.47. So the bond sells at a premium. Now on Part B, it says describe two possible reasons why a similar risk bond are currently earning a return below the coupon interest rate on the complex system bonds. Well, I can think of two general reasons. One would be we've had a change in market interest rates. Okay, something within the supply and demand for money, or shift in the supply and demand for this type of financing vehicle has changed in the market. So we've had a change in interest rate. We'll call that the supply and demand for money. I can think of that as one reason. And the second reason that I could think of, that there was a change in the risk of the firm. Okay? So when we talk about a similar risk bonds relating to complex systems versus someone else, if it's currently selling at 10% and comparable companies were issued at 12% at the time we issued the bond, then for some reason, the market is perceived that complex systems is less risky, and therefore the bonds will sell at a premium. Okay, now on Part C, I think we'll just do Part A and change the factors. Part C says, if the required rate of return were 12% instead of 10%, what would the current value of the system's bonds be? Okay, well, if you look at the whole problem, it was originally issued to yield 12%, so I think without doing any calculations, you should recognize that if the coupon rate equals the market rate, then the value of that bond should be the $1,000. Now let's test it. We already have a formula that's based on what's in cell C18. Why don't we go up there and turn the market rate to 12% and see what happens to our answer in cell C23. So I'll hit enter, and look, sure enough, it went to 1,000. So you could construct this on your own, and you'll see that that would be equal $1,000. Now, let's put this one back so you can see all the answers. And that takes care of problem 6-10, which deals with the basic bond valuation. Thanks, everyone.